welcome to our Thursday night series on creating wealth. This is part 2. Last week, I started this program and I talked about the 555 program for creating wealth. And it is a simple thing to do. I'm just going to recap it for just a second as we move into part 2. So we talked about how you could take this simple concept of 555 and build a successful life trends business. And it's as simple as help 5 people get 5 people in 5 months. That's all there is to it. So remember what I said last week. I said, when you go to bed tonight and when you get up in the morning, just think 555. Because it's going to always have you thinking, okay, I'm going to help 5 people get 5 people in 5 months, and I'm going to be set for life. I won't have to worry anymore. I won't have to work anymore. I'll have an amazing income. I'll have an unreal lifestyle. I'll be able to travel the world. I'll be able to have vacations being thrown at me for free every year because of the amount of gigabucks I'll be earning in life trends. I'm going to have more income than I know what to do with. And that's what's going to happen. But it starts with really putting that 5-5 to work. Now, in the coming weeks, as I go through this series, I want to give you all the little tips and nuances and things that you need to do to make this all reality. And tonight, what I'm going to talk about is mindset. That's probably the most important part, because if you have a mindset that says, you know what, I can do this and I'm going to make this happen, guess what? You will. But if your mindset is, well, I'll try, I'll give it a shot, I'll put out my best effort, you've already failed. And so what I wanted to share with you is something that has really, really benefited me in my lifetime. And that is starting with the right mindset about what you're doing. Some simple examples. When I was very, very young, I didn't have any money. I mean, I was dead broke. I got out of college. I didn't even have money to put gas in my car. That's how broke I was. But at the same time, I knew that I truly wanted to be a millionaire. I don't know why. I just wanted to be a millionaire. I thought, wow, that would be great to be a millionaire. And so I set about everything that I did was on the basis of I'm going to do the work necessary to make that happen. And so at a very, very young age, I ended up starting my own business. Now, again, remember when I started this, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any resources. I literally begged somebody to partner with me to put something together. And the person that I did this with said, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll do this with you. Yeah, you got a great idea. I'll help you out. And so he said, but I need you to go do this first. I need you to go find 1,000 people who would be interested in what we're talking about. I said, okay. I went and did that because I had the mindset that I was going to make that happen. But I came back, I had the 1,000 people ready to do what we discussed, and he looked at me like, what are you talking about? I don't have any products for you. I don't have any money for you. I was just telling you that to blow you off and get you out of my office. And I went, well, no, look at this. And he didn't believe me. So what I did at the time, I actually had people fill out paper applications to be involved in this business that didn't even exist. But they filled out the applications, and I walked in. I said, well, just a minute. I went out, I got the apps, and I put them on his desk. 1,000 of them sitting there. And he looked, he says, are these real people? I said, yeah, they're real people that are interested in selling the product that I talked to you about, but I need you to make the product. I thought you already had it made. And he goes, well, guess what? I didn't make it, but I will now. He said, so I guess we need to form a company and a business together. I said, yeah, I guess we do. We formed that company. 2 years later, I was not just a millionaire, I was a multi-millionaire. I had my own private Learjet. I think I had a limousine for like 3 or 4 days of the week, different colors. I had every toy you can imagine. I was a 25-year-old kid, and I was just living the dream. And it was amazing. But it all started because I had this mindset that I could do it. And I've kind of used that throughout my entire life. I'll give you a good example for everybody else out here. Have you ever, gone to the shopping malls to go shopping? And when you're driving into the shopping mall and, it's packed for that day, what is it do you think about when it comes to a parking space? I'll bet you most people think, oh my gosh, this mall is filled. I'm going to have to walk a mile. I don't feel like walking a mile because it's either too hot or it's rainy or it's too cold or something. I don't want to walk, but I'm going to have to walk because this mall is just packed. So you start thinking, okay, I'm going to have to park somewhere in the back, and you do. Well, when I pull into any kind of a restaurant or a shopping mall or whatever, before I pull in, I actually say, well, There's going to be a place for me right by the front door. Always there'll be a place for me right by the front door. When I first started doing this years ago with my wife, she used to laugh. She says, "You can't demand a place by the front door." And I said, "Yes, I can, because I expect it. I expect when I get there, somebody will pull out and I can pull in right there in the front, or the space will be waiting for me." And she goes, "That's impossible." I said, "No, just watch." Well, we've been married 13 years now. She knows that when we go somewhere, I know we got a space by the front door, and we always do, because I expect it. And it's funny in life, what you expect, you get. And there was a great saying that I hope you can use this in your own life. And it's somebody shared this with me, and I just never forgot it because it just made so much sense. And it says, "You don't get what you want in life. You get what you are." I think about that. I say this all the time to people. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you are. What does that mean? Well, perfect example. If you say, yeah, I'd like to have a nice home and drive a nice car and have money to take my family on dates, I would like that. But the reality is, with my job, my paycheck, and blah, 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 it ain't happening. So you're pretty convinced that that's not going to happen. Well, guess what? You don't get what you want in life. You get what you are. So if that's what you are, a person that is willing to accept where you're at, and that's it, and that's all you can ever have, then that's what you always have. And for some people, that might be okay. But if you don't want that, if you really want something, then you have to be that. And what I mean by that is, you have to have the expectation, just like I talked about with the parking space. You have to have the expectation before you arrive that it's there waiting on you. Anyway, before you arrive, it's there waiting on you. And what that means very simply is, if you have that expectation that whatever it is you've thought about, it's yours. You don't have it yet, but it's yours. If it's $1 million in your bank account, and that's what you've set as your expectation, well, guess what? If every day you get up, say, "I have $1 million in my bank account, and I get to spend that," it's going to be so much fun because I get to do all the things I want to do. And you start thinking about how you're going to spend the money and the fun things that you'll do, and maybe you'll do some great things for your kids and your family, and it's just a wonderful. And you go through that, and you keep thinking about that. But your expectation is, "I'm going to have $1 million in my bank account." Well, guess what? That's how you end up getting that $1 million. Because if you don't have that expectation, it won't happen. Jim Carrey told a great story. When he started out as an actor, and he said that he wrote a check, and I can't remember the amount. I think it was $5 million. No, $10 million. He wrote a check and put it in his wallet for $10 million. And he said, "I put that check in there," and he said, "One day I'm going to be able to cash that check. It's a $10 million check, and I'm going to be able to cash it." So what did he do? He looked at that check every day, and he says, "Well, there's my $10 million check. I'm going to cash it one day." And because he expected that to happen, guess what? He started doing the things necessary to make it happen. It's like he said, you can't say, "Well, I want that $10 million check," and sit at home on the couch and eat a ham and cheese sandwich. That's not going to work. But what he did is, he said, "Okay, I expect that, so I'm going to make it in a movie career, so I got to go to work. And I got to keep talking, I got to doing auditions, I got to do whatever it takes. I'm just going to keep doing it because one day I'm going to cash that check." Well, guess what? His first major check, the first major movie, was a movie called Dumb and Dumber, right? And he got notified by the people that produced and directed the movie. They said, "Hey, Jim, good news. The money, the movie's a box office hit, and you got a $10 million check on the way to you." And so there it was. He remembered that. "Oh my gosh, I got that old tattered check in my wallet, and I'm finally going to be able to cash that $10 million check." So mindset. That's all it really is. I could give you story after story after story. I'm going to give you one more, and then I'm going to tell you how you start developing this mindset, because this is a great one too. So back in the I don't want to date myself, back a long, long time ago, when I was a very young guy and had built my first company, the one that that allowed me to have a Learjet and all the toys, and it was doing over 100 million in sales. Well, I hired a young guy that had just won all the bodybuilding contests. He'd won Mr. Olympia, Mr. World, Mr. Universe, everything you could think of, and his name was Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so Arnold came to work for me to do PR because I was in the nutritional business, and I needed somebody like him that kind of represented, somebody that was just amazing beyond any description you could think of. When back in the days of bodybuilding, nobody could compete with Arnold in those days. And so I hired him, and he came to work for me for about 6 months or so. And it really wasn't working out because one of the problems at the time was Arnold didn't speak very much English. And so, I knew I was going to have to let him go. I'll never forget what happened. The day that I let Arnold go, and he's a big man, and I'm standing next to him. And I go, Arnold, I feel bad about this, but we're kind of going in a different direction, and so I need to let you go. But God, you're such a good guy. I said, so what are you going to do? I feel bad, but what are you going to do going forward? And he looked at me and says, and I never forget this, Mark, I go to Hollywood, I become a movie star. I mean, that's his exact words. It was just ingrained in my brain. I never got Mark, I go to Hollywood, I become a movie star. And what happened? Exactly that. Now, why? Why did that happen, Arnold? I mean, I'm thinking to myself, and if I talked out and verbalized what I was thinking to him, maybe he wouldn't have gone, because I would have told him, Arnold, number one, you don't know the first thing about acting. Number two, you barely speak English, so nobody's going to be able to understand you. This is not going to work. You know, this is not going to, you need to go do something else. This is not going to, that's what I would have told him. But of course I didn't, because he's a big guy, and I was like, I don't think I need to do that. So I didn't. So what does he do? Because that's what he believed was going to happen to him. That was his expectation. That was his parking space. You know, that was his $1 million. He went to Hollywood and became a movie star. Now, guys and ladies and gentlemen, it's true for all of us. These are not just tales of some people have done it, but other people can't. It's true. Every person that's ever been successful in life will tell you that they had the expectation they were going to be successful. They knew it. They knew it because they believed it, and they did the work to get there. And so with Life Trends, you're sitting on an opportunity that you can take to create amazing wealth. I mean, and maybe this isn't your future forever. Maybe you just use this as a jumping off point because you'll make so much money. Who knows? Maybe you'll go make your own exotic car sometime. I always thought about doing that. Or maybe you're going to go to something else you want to do. Or maybe you'll do your love of life, whatever it is. Of course, maybe you'll just love this so much you won't want to leave. But I know one thing. If it takes any kind of financial prosperity for that to happen, whatever it is you want, you can get it here at Life Trends. And that's a good starting point. So you use something a business that's fun and entertaining and exciting. And again, I can't imagine doing anything that's much more fun than vacation and travel, because that's all we're about, teaching people how to basically, you know, not only just save thousands of dollars when they vacation, but basically show them how they can vacation for free and do it every year for the rest of their life, and then make it an amazing income on top of that. That's what we're doing. So it's a pretty good starting point. And so whatever your goals are, and whatever it is that your expectation is what you want in life, you need to get that set right now. And I'm going to give you a little starting point that you can do that really helps. One of the things that I created for myself, and I've always had one, and if you don't have one, you need to get one. And I'm going to tell you another great story next week about what happens when you actually take this part of, you know, changing your mindset. And that is visualization. If you will visualize the things that you want, they will materialize. They do. They always do. For example, you know, just recently, well, that was about a year ago, I decided I wanted a Ferrari because I hadn't had a Ferrari in a long time, and I really wanted a Ferrari. So I went and looked at them, and I found the one that I wanted. Couldn't afford it right then, you know, I really couldn't. And I just said, you know, because I invested heavily in all the stuff I was doing, I said, well, I really can't afford to do this right now, so I'm just going to have to hold off, because when I buy it, I want to pay cash for it. I don't want to finance it. You know, my idea is when I buy it, it's mine. I own it, you know. So for me, it was like, okay, let me just do the work. But boy, that would be a great thing to have happen. And so I visualized that Ferrari, and I visualized the exact Ferrari. And of course, it happened. It happens for all of us, folks, all of us. We just have to do the work, you know, and put in the time and the energy and the effort, but you have to have the expectation. So visualization. Get yourself, I don't care, put it on a big, you know, piece of poster board, and do nothing more but cut out all the things you want in life. Like, for example, if you want a beautiful home, put that on there. You want a particular type of automobile, put that on there. You want, you know, the money to send your kids to college, put that on there. Whatever it is, if you want, you know, if it has to do with sports and recreation, you know, it's golfing or it's fishing or it's, you know, whatever it is, put that on there. If it's just vacation all over the world, we're in the right business for that, put that on there. Like some of your bucket list places that you want to go to, you've always dreamed about how cool it'd be to go to this place. Put that on your visualization board, and make sure it's just pictures, right? But here's what happens. I look at my visualization board, because I keep it in my bathroom. It's ugly. I mean, as far as, you know, decor goes, but I don't care, because it's my visualization board. And I look at it every morning when I get up, And I see it every night before I go to bed because I'm in there brushing my teeth, looking at my board. And because of that, I always know that everything that's on that board is going to come to pass because I'll do the other things necessary to make that happen. And I don't worry about what other people think or say or do. It doesn't matter to me because I've got my board, the things I want, and I'm going to make sure that they happen. And you can do the same thing. But if you don't believe any of this, if you think, oh, this old mindset thing is all hogwash, you're right. It is hogwash for you. Because if you have that kind of belief, then it can't possibly happen. Because remember what I said at the very beginning, you don't get what you want in life. You don't. You'll never get what you want in life. You only get who you are. So when what you are is different, when you become different, and guess what? Everything around you changes and it becomes different. It doesn't happen by accident. You've got to start that process. And you can do it yourself. You don't need me or anybody else. Just start going and finding books to read. I mean, find books on laws of attraction, on anything to do with positive thinking. There's a million books out there. There's a million. I mean, I happen to like the whole thing of law of attraction because I believe you can attract the things you want in life. I mean, one of the greatest books in the world, if you want to really get some unbelievable thoughts, is the Bible. I mean, to me, one of the greatest things the Bible says, ask and it will be given unto you. You know, there's ask and you receive. I mean, and myself being a God-fearing man, to me, that's like, okay, God, I'm asking. This is what I'd like. And I really expect to receive it. I'm not just asking. He said, ask and you'll receive. So I'm going, okay, I'm asking, but I know you're going to give it to me. I know you are because I've asked. And I'm entitled to have that. It's good for me to have that. It's good for you to have it. See, that's the thing. It's there, but it really depends on what's here, in the mind. And if you don't think those kinds of thoughts, it can't happen. It's impossible. I mean, I love my brother. I love him to death. He and I are exact opposites. He believes nothing good will happen in life, and he's only going to have X. I mean, he's not going to have any wild and crazy thing. This is going to be his life. This is what he's going to get. This is what he's going to have. Now, he's okay with that. And that's fine. That's what makes him happy. But guess what? The things that he expects are the things that he's always gotten. No more. No more. And so I look at that and go, I get it. I love him. He's my only brother. But I just wish sometimes, God, I wish you kind of look at the bigger picture of things. But it's just not who he is or who he's accepted that he is. And I hope that you don't ever do that. I mean, I think everybody has to have that unbelievable belief that you can do anything you want in life. I don't care how bad things get. I don't care if the world is turned upside down. Yeah, it's easy to say because I don't have money right now and I'm broke and I got all these problems. So what? Everybody does. Get over it. It's a fact. Get over it. Everybody has issues and problems. Go do something about it. Start with your mind. And then give yourself an opportunity to do something. So here you got life trends. 5-5-5. That's it. Do the 5-5-5 and watch what happens. You do that, and your life is going to change dramatically because of the result of what's going to come out of that 5-5-5. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll conclude tonight, and we'll continue this series. I say every week I'm going to be adding more and more to the foundation about mindset, but I'm also going to be adding the how-tos, the little tips and things of how do I do it. For example, we just did a great job here. I'm going to wait and tell you about that next week and how we actually got the cards out, talked to people, got them excited about it, and now take them to the next level. I'm going to close with this. You'll be seeing the emails coming out. And I probably won't be doing this in the Creating Wealth series going forward, but since this is all new, I'll kind of do this real quickly right now. So starting next week, all right, on Tuesdays, we're going to be doing live business presentations. On Wednesday, we're going to do a getting started training stuff for everybody that's new to the business for getting started. And on Thursday will be like I'm doing right now, the Creating Wealth series. And we're going to repeat this every week. So you're going to be able to start sending people to the business presentation on Tuesday, the Getting Started presentation on Wednesday, the Creating Wealth series on Thursday, and then people can go non-stop. Now, once they're in the business, they don't need to see the business presentation anymore. They'll just need it to send other people. Now, think about that. We're doing all the heavy lifting for you. We're going to do 99% of this business. Your only job to be successful with this is just give the card away. Give the card away. When the app comes, give the app away. That's all you're going to have to do because we're going to do everything else. We're going to teach everybody about the business. We're going to show them what to do when they first get started and how to build it. We're going to give them everything they need to create wealth. So with that being said, appreciate everybody being here. I look forward to seeing you next week on the Creating Wealth series. Actually, I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday on the business presentation. And if you're going to start creating wealth, You should have some people in that call. You really should. You should be inviting people and say, look, just go. Is this thing about e-gig travel is the easiest thing in the world? To just go take a look at it. Give them the card, tell them, hey, do this, but more importantly, go to the presentation on Tuesday. Just see for yourself if this is something you might to do or might want to do. And I think you're going to be surprised at what happens, because we've got one unbelievable message. All right, everybody. Good night. See you next time.